What we're looking at here is really the last of a section in Ecclesiastes that is called a correction of perspectives. As you go through a life that doesn't have always equity in how it treats people, that there can be bad times. Sometimes righteous men suffer, wicked men prosper. And what he's given you are corrections of perspective. The first one was about money. It is highly overrated. Why don't I have money? This bad guy doesn't. It's highly overrated. All it can deal with is just the externals of your life. It can't deal with your heart that can sink you at times. And then secondly, you looked at the issue of life, that life is not acquisitiveness and collecting stuff. It is walking with God that God makes us for, is to know Him. And all you need to do that are basic things. And so God is committed to make us great, not just happy. And that's where you come to the next point, and that is called pain, that it's highly underrated. Whenever you go through difficult times, it is those difficult times that stretch you and stress you and bring you close to God. And so, why do I go through hard times? It's because God loves you. And like a good parent that stretches his kid, He won't always let us do the easy thing that we would like. He is more committed to our greatness than we are. We would always take the easy way. Just like your kid will not eat his broccoli, he will eat junk, all right, if he is left to his own palate. And so a parent has to override it. Well, the last section here, we're going to finish up about looking at an issue of pain. And then we're going to look at the next issue in verse 15 about you got to clarify your perspective on yourself. Is there a chance that God can do things in your life that you don't completely understand? I know that's hard to believe, that we can't understand and intellectualize everything God is doing. That sometimes you're going to have to consider it all joy when you encounter various trials. Sometimes you're going to have to exult in your tribulations, knowing that they produce perseverance and proven character the assurance that we belong to God. Or like Peter said, for a little while, if necessary, you have been distressed by various trials, that the testing of your faith may be found too. And then he talks about the marvelousness of faith. And so let's get our perspective down here and be wise. In verse 9 of chapter 7, he concludes this paragraph on the worthiness of testing by talking about what you don't do when testing comes. You don't do, verse 9, don't be eager in your heart to be, what's the word? Angry. Why me, God? Why not Joel? Strike Joel, but not me. And we get mad. Or you can do verse 10. Why is it that the former days were not like these? And you start whining. You expect sometime to idolize time, that it always has to be getting better every day in every way, and there can't be times of pain. Well, in verse 10, it is not from wisdom that you ask this, because wisdom knows, do not despise the chastening of God, nor faint when you are reproved by Him. For whom the Lord loves, He chastens and scourges every son whom He receives. It is for discipline that you endure. The reason we endure is that it's not an accident, but God is purposing and stretching us. He's more committed to our greatness than we are. We'll always go for sugar, and God will go for what's best for us. When it says, do not despise the chastening of God and do not faint, those are the two bad reactions to hard times. One is that you despise it. You don't let it change you. You just bow up under it and you get bitter. And then the other one is where you faint. And that is where you say, God, you just don't love me anymore. I have two sons. One would despise chastening and one would faint. The first one, Benjamin, would despise it. I beat him with every object you could beat a child with. All right. to try to bring him. I think CPS took him away 3 times for trying to bring him under the yoke. All right. John Clark, I would look at him and go, how could you? And he would collapse. Oh, no good. Those were the 2 bad responses. And so whenever you go through hard times, you don't get angry and you don't start whining, looking back 10 years ago as to why it's not like that now. You just take every day as it comes.